And welcome back to the Constitutionals Podcast. I'm your host, Chad White. If you didn't know, this is the premiere podcast for the website, cpluscomedy.com. Like I just said, it's a website. Go there. Here we are, episode 295 for the TV show, for the podcast, C Plus Comedy. No, the Constitutionals. Oh, Jesus, Chad. I don't know what's going on anymore. Hi. Welcome back. I'm back from another movie, baby. I went to see the movie If. And boy, do I have thoughts. But you know what? That's neither here nor there. I think my biggest thought is there was a woman. First of all, we're like 2 or 3 weeks removed. I thought people would not be seeing this movie anymore. But we are 2 or 3 weeks removed, and I went to the theater. 11:20 is when the movie started. I walked in at 11:41. Right when I saw the big "if" pop up, and this woman. It was a pretty packed theater. I think people sat in my seats. Anyway, my seat, and I went over to the second row, down in the second row. Sat up front. I love it. It feels great. I don't have to be near people or anything. But there's a lot of children, a lot of families in there. But on my row there, at the other end, were 4 adults. Which is great. Four grown adults, middle-aged adults. I believe a husband, a wife, a grandmother, and some other adult figure. But the movie has its moments, and there's like 20 minutes in the end where it's just a sob fest. And if you're really into it, you're feeling it, you're enjoying it. I'm trying not to shit on the movie, but But if you're really into the part of this movie, I was taken out of it. I was really trying to feel it. I was taken out of it in that 20 minutes because there were children talking in the middle rows, which is why I was in the middle rows. Anyway, in your emotions are hit very hard. I think that's the only part of the movie that works. It's very true. I'm sorry, John Krasinski. You did not do a good job. And what is good? And this woman was crying. She was clapping at parts. And then like there was a part where she clapped. And she's like, yes, yes. And then she was crying. And I really felt for her that she was in it. And I said, this is good. I'm so glad that she's enjoying this movie. Otherwise, yeah. There we go. The movie exists. I think my biggest issue, the movie has no idea what it wants to do. If I'm trying not to review it because I think reviews are stupid, and I think you should watch anything. I watched. There's a lot of movies I watch, whether I'm working out. If I'm working out and watching a movie, that means there's nothing else for me to do because there aren't any sports on. or I need to be distracted watching this movie and I can't. I don't want to sit on my phone or the iPad or whatever, or Steam Deck or whatever. So I'm not trying to be negative. The marketing for the movie was so piss poor. It was definitely not something that should have been marketed. Like the movie should not have been marketed as, because if you look at the trailers, it's like. George Clooney's in the movie, and Brad Pitt's in the movie. Well, he's not really. He is. They put him in there. He's credited as a character, but he's not in the movie. So don't get your hopes up. Steve Carell's in the movie. Phoebe Waller-Bridge. Notice I'm only naming the white people because that's the people that they marketed. Bradley Cooper, Matt Damon. And in reality, those characters are only in there for 10, like, you know, they say like 1 or 2 lines, a lot of them, between 1 or 2 lines and up to 8. And I feel like it's a waste. And they market it as an adult movie with that kid, like, or a kid movie that adults can enjoy, when it should have been marketed as a family movie with dramatic and comedic elements. And it takes me back to what is this movie I'm thinking of? It's Seth MacFarlane, and I think he's barely in it. I don't know why I went directly to Seth MacFarlane, but it's like it's Logan Lucky. Logan Lucky was when Steven Soderbergh that movie was marketed. We knew it starred Channing Tatum, Adam Driver, Seth MacFarlane, and just a slew of people. And it's a movie about race cars and NASCAR. The way that movie was marketed was in the South, there was a heavy push. Whereas who watches NASCAR the most? People in the South. It was marketed heavily with that cast, with the trailers and everything in the South, and that's what made it important. With If, every single trailer I saw or commercial or whatever was like, look at these famous people in this movie. And what that was supposed to do, to me, what it feels like, what that was supposed to do was drag the adults like, hey, whoa, George Clooney's going to be in this movie. I want to see him as a voice or hear his voice in this movie. Hey, kids, let's go see the movie. And that did not work for me. And another thing, it's just, if these are cartoon characters or imaginary characters, let's have some more diverse voices. Oh God, it's the easiest casting you could do. I mean, like, just because you have George Clooney, and I'm not bragging on George Clooney. I like him. I like Bradley Cooper. I like Emily Blunt. I like Sebastian Maniscalco, but I like Sam Rockwell. But if you're gonna have, famous people in the movie, then and doing bit parts here and there, let's not get your friends. Let's get some other people you've never worked with before. Awkwafina has like 2 lines in the entire movie. Keegan-Michael Key's got like 2. Maya Rudolph does have a little bit more of a better role, but it's comparative. Lou Gossett Jr., we're lucky to have him for a long time in that movie. This is his last movie, I believe. Anyway, that was my marketing jargon for If. 'Cause, like, halfway through that movie, I went, this is not turning out to be the movie that was marketed as. Like, it's going to be this whole imaginary thing. Kind of like, and again, I have not seen this movie actually, but I am interested in seeing it. What is it called? I know it is. I'm not going to say the actor because I want to get to the movie before I say his name. So yes, it is a man. Slumberland. The entire time I had not seen that movie. I've seen the trailer. And the entire time If was playing, I was thinking, oh, this is Slumberland. This is what I assume Slumberland is like. Oh, would you look at that? It's got a way more diverse actors in it. The first names I see are way more diverse. Anyway, that's it. That's all I want to talk about. Tomorrow I'll be seeing Garfield. What happened, the thing that happened was I for Furiosa, for Mad Max Furiosa, which I talked about last week, I got, there was a AMC A-list deal for 99 cents for that first month, and I'm going to utilize the crap out of it for this month, for this first month. And then I'll probably cancel it. Because I don't have an extra $22 for this thing. I don't go to the movies that often. They should have more daytime showings. No, excuse me, more morning showings for adults. You give me a nice 10 o'clock showing. When I lived in the suburbs, I could go to a movie theater at 10 o'clock in the morning and a movie would be playing. A movie I want to see. That's exactly how I saw, oh my God, The House, starring Will Ferrell and Amy Poehler. I did see I Feel Pretty with Amy Schumer at that time. Man, it's great. Anyway, let's get on with this. This comes from The Verge, written by Emilia David. Vox Media and The Atlantic signed content deals with OpenAI. OpenAI is the parent company of ChatGPT. Let's preface this story with this. When it was announced that these AI models were being used, to train AI models, they would read, New York Times articles, and they would read Fox articles, they would read Fox News, all these different news articles in order to get their information, so that when users go to ask about what happened with blank, what happened over here, tell me the history of Hydro Flask or something like that. Let me show you that I have a flask, or Hydro Flask tumbler over here. And then they would pull information from all these sources, but they would never cite them. And then New York Times and a lot of other news organizations said, hey, you can't, if you're making money off of things that we have published and put out and produced and everything. So we're going to sue you if you don't, if not, we're going to sue you, but they could. But they wanted deals. They wanted to be compensated for their information being used. Now OpenAI, even though these things are published on the internet, and you could take the information, even though that would be illegal, and that's plagiarism. OpenAI is doing the right thing and talking to companies and saying, hey, let's make some content deals and bring in The Atlantic and Vox Media, two periodicals I do peruse so often. OpenAI has quickly been signing partnerships across the media world as it seeks to license training data and avoid copyright lawsuits. That's what it would be, copyright lawsuits. It's recently reached deals with News Corp, which owns the Wall Street Journal, the New York Post, and the Daily Telegraph. One of those is good. Alex Springer, which owns Business Insider and Politico. Dotdash Meredith, which owns People, Better Home and Gardens, Investopedia, Food and Wine, and InStyle. One of those is Not Fit, and the Financial Times and the Associated Press. And that's a very good wide range of organizations in order to that can help call information. The deal with News Corp is estimated to be worth $250 million over the next 5 years, according to the Journal, while the deal with the Financial Times is believed to be worth between $5 to $10 million. Obviously, the Atlantic and Vox Media are not that big, but they should see substantial. I mean, the Atlantic's one of the oldest in the world, I believe, when it comes to news. So, this is good. This is a good first step, and it is important that they get their work cited, which is part of the deal. Their attribution links will be cited. So I assume, when ChatGPT answers your question and they answer, what happened today at the Trump hush money trial, they can say the jury's in deliberation, blah, 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 blah. And then they can have a 1 in the corner. And then much like not a syllabus. I mean, we've seen things. We know what I'm talking about. A 1 in the corner of the word at the end of the sentence in a bracket. And then all the way at the bottom could be, of the bottom of the paragraph could be a link. Now, Vox Media will begin sharing content with OpenAI in the coming weeks. Vox Media says in a press release that it will use OpenAI's technology to, quote, enhance its affiliate commerce product, the Strategist Gift Scout, and expand its ad data platform, which I assume will help them serve ads better. I don't know. The Atlantic says it is developing a microsite called Atlantic Labs, where its teams can experiment with developing AI tools, quote, to serve its journalism and readers better. So I assume that they are going to use. They're not averse to using AI tools to help them write. Not saying that every writer is going to do that, but they're going to. I can only assume that there's a Slack chat, a Slack group chat right now with the Atlantic editors saying, "Okay, let's use this AI tool to get all the stories about the war in Gaza or something like that." That's not me making a stand about Gaza. This is, again, I mentioned it's a great first step, and it's the New York Times would have taken them to task, and because right now they've spent about $1 million on the lawsuit against OpenAI and Microsoft that they have over a copyright infringement from ChatGPT and Microsoft Copilot. It is smart for OpenAI to play ball, because if they want people to use their product, then they're going to need information for that product to drain from. This next one comes from, speaking of, the New York Times. They're ignoring Mr. Beast's rules of YouTube and thriving, from Chris Almeida. There are people on YouTube who aren't Mr. Beast. Believe that. Can you believe it? Is what I meant to say. He may be one of the biggest the biggest YouTube personality out there. He's so big that even I can dig watching him. I don't subscribe. It's very important to know that. But I can dig watching him. Also, I don't like that he's friends with Jake Paul, but whatever. I can't do much about that. The people they cite, I only know two of them and only watch one of them. And I can't even say I watched them. But they're Mr. Beast is Jimmy Donaldson, the guy who has great sponsorships that he's helped build up partnerships with giant companies, and he can put out a video with competition for people to earn money or for his friends to earn money, or they're going on trips showing off opulent, extravagant areas of the world, and everybody on YouTube watches it. He's really cracked the algorithm for YouTube, and if the algorithm changes, then he and his team will find a way around it and through it. For instance, there's a YouTube thumbnail trend right now that's been going on for several months where he realized that, and I remember watching an interview and being so surprised that he and his team have figured it out. Where that I'm not going to say if I'm saying he, I also mean he and his team, because I know not one person can do all of this. But he realized that they have a lot of YouTubers, when they make thumbnails for their videos, they make multiple ones, and he's no different. Wherein that he made one YouTube video thumbnail with his mouth open, and then another one with it closed. And it turns out the ones with the mouth open get a lot more views, which means a lot more revenue because a lot more people are watching, and a lot more people have to watch ads in order to watch the videos. And others are doing that. In a nod to how well his methods have worked, copycats have sprung up across the platform, putting twists on Mr. Beast's approved strategies for thumbnails, titles, and stunts. Burnout among YouTube creators has been widespread for obvious reasons. If you want your channel to be successful, you need to figure out how to please the platform's algorithm. Fail by posting too infrequently or in the incorrect way, and your audience may dry up along with your livelihood. A lot of these creators are saying that it comes, I hate saying creator, but that's what they're dubbed as, are saying that trust is a part of it. They chronicle one YouTuber named Sam Sulek, who is a fitness personality, and he does not do the quick cuts that are popular now with YouTube videos. He doesn't scream, and he doesn't really have any flash. He's just a guy who, I'm going to mute my computer so I can watch a video and actually see what he's like. He has half an hour of video. It's a lot of it. Yeah, it's just like a lot of plain, boring video, which is good, of him working out. That's insane. No music, just him making noise. That's cool. He's got his shirt off. He's giant. All right, maybe run a little bit. He's been successful, and so have other people. Hold on, I'm trying to find who they're quoting right now. Not every creator has the same goals, says one of the video makers. Some people just want to use YouTube as a creative outlet. Some people want to use it to gain fame. Some people want to use it to make money. I think ideally, the biggest thing is just creating a really good video and understanding your audience, and I think that the views will come. Yeah. It makes sense that people, when people make these videos, make TikToks, they're, besides the fame, besides the money, how do they find their audience? Why does the audience float towards, or why are they attracted to people who are loud, and why are videos so quick? I feel as if that is ruining how people are watching movies and TV shows, where they need something so fast and frenetic that it kind of it ruins what the project is. Can you imagine? There are people who don't watch movies. There are people who don't watch TV, but there are people who don't watch movies. They'd rather spend time watching 3 episodes of an hour-long show or 6 episodes of a half-hour show, instead of sitting down and having a story told to them for 90 minutes to 2 hours. Or if you're Zack Snyder's Justice League 4. I've been wanting to rewatch that movie. It's very true. I have been wanting to rewatch the movie. I own it. I bought it. Yeah. I own a lot of superhero movies. Even though I talk a lot of smack about them, I own a lot of superhero movies. How many of them are recent, though? There's that. I do have 2 of the Avengers movies. That might be, and then everything else is like Spider-Man, X-Men, the old ones. Excuse me. Superman, Batman, the old ones. Excuse me. There you go. What was I talking about? Oh my gosh. You make more money if you have subscribers, or if versus going to home tab, all that stuff. Anyway. Hey, I was talking about movies earlier. This comes from the Wall Street Journal, written by Robbie Whelan, Francesca Fontana, and Ming Lee. Last year we had Barbenheimer. This year is a summer of sequels. And we've got so many sequels. It's hard for Hollywood. They'll say it's hard for Hollywood to invest in new IP. And that's the thing. Most movies that are coming out now are IP. And as the title states, there's a crap ton of movies that are coming out this year that are sequels. This summer, that are sequels. They have Garfield up here. I don't think Garfield's a sequel to anything. But there's Despicable Me 4, Inside Out 2, Mad Max Furiosa, Maverick, A Quiet Place Day 1, which is a prequel, a Transformers movie, and yeah, last year we did have 2 movies. One was based on IP, one was based on a book. But let's take out the source material at all. We had 2 new original ideas that both brought in roughly $2.5 billion for the studios that were involved, and it was great. It was a huge, substantial bump for movie theaters and studios, and even audiences. Mostly because we had not had something like that since before the pandemic. Now we've got Despicable Me 4, Bad Boys Ride or Die, which is the 4th movie in that franchise. And it seems as though, as they put it over here at the Wall Street Journal, Whelan, Francesca, and the last Ming Lee, is that the movie studios have not learned their lesson. Or if it's not that, then movies take years to make under the best of circumstances, making it hard for studios to quickly pivot based on the lightning in a bottle success of a few big hits. What the common thinking for big tentpole films like Bad Boys 4, Despicable Me 4, these new Transformers, our Garfield movie this is the first movie in the new franchise, because they're not going to make one animated Garfield movie. They're going to make more. And Mad Max Furiosa, hopefully they make more. See, I'm not even averse. I should stop saying that. I'm not even against sequels and IP and stuff. But what these movies are known as, they're tentpoles. They're tentpole blockbusters, so that Paramount and Warner and Disney can get all the money, all that guaranteed cash from an Avengers movie, from a Despicable Me. If those movies make $500, $600, $700, $800 million, not billion, billion yen, yeah, $800 million, even $1 billion, then the smaller movies that you might like could come out, possibly. Like an If. And yeah, I know I'm saying If with all those people in it is a smaller movie. But yeah, I mean, technically it is compared to Mad Max Furiosa and the new Transformers and Bad Boys 4 and Despicable Me 4. Hollywood's less nimble. We've been through a lot of strikes. There's a lot of new ideas that could help change things. But despite a growing awareness of the potential for sequel fatigue among audiences, Hollywood for now is turning to familiar, proven stories and characters to coax audiences into changing out of their sweatpants, getting off the couch, and spending money at cineplexes. Sometimes a sequel can be a smart bet, as the expectations for Deadpool now. Excuse me. They say movies were back. I still think they are, even though Mad Max Furiosa is apparently not doing too well commercially. If I think I saw, and box office doesn't really matter to me, but I think if made a little under its $110 million budget. Hollywood should start doing some more risk taking. There should be ways for them to not worry about tentpoles, but to kind of bet on themselves. The Fall Guy is a fantastic movie based on a TV show that no one remembers. And if you do remember it, then you remember that it's not really something worth being remade. But when this movie came out, the push for it was fantastic. I mean, Ryan Gosling, I've never seen Ryan Gosling do that much press. I've never seen Emily Blunt, without The Rock next to her, be so personable. Everything for that movie was lined up. It's got one of the John Wick directors and producers. It's got, it's a funny movie. It's action packed. It set a Guinness World Record, and it talks about the stunt people who often go unseen. And yet it did so poorly that it is now available to rent and buy like 3 or 4 weeks after it came out. Just 2 summers ago, Top Gun Maverick, a flashy aerial action sequel to a 1986 blockbuster, was hailed as a box office savior when it arrived in theaters on Memorial Day weekend. The movie hauled in $1.5 billion globally, even without having been released in the Chinese market just yet. For many in the film industry, the lesson of Maverick was that familiar storylines and tried and true franchises would lead audiences back to the cinemas. Another lesson, it still worked to release them on long summer weekends. But last weekend, Memorial Day weekend, Furiosa did not do too well. It was very tepid. It was the worst Memorial Day box office since 1995, I believe. But just because the sequel doesn't mean it's going to do well. Fast X didn't do as well. Mission Impossible Dead Reckoning Part 1 didn't do as well. Both movies I own and love. The summer will really be a turn when Deadpool and Wolverine comes out. And we'll see, even though you don't have to have seen all the X-Men movies and all the Marvel movies up to this point, it will have helped, and all the Marvel TV shows, because the Loki show is the science people, the science police, time police, whatever they are. They're a part of this. I don't know. It will help, and I feel like, yes, it's going to be a third movie about Deadpool, but in some regards, it's the 34th movie in the and maybe 50th thing in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. We'll see. There's Deadpool. I think this will be the highest grossing movie of the year. Twisters will not do it. So we'll see where this takes us. It's gonna be rough. And if this does not do well, then we're going to see maybe some changes from Hollywood. This next one comes from the New York Times, written by John Coblin. What happened to our ad-free TV? Ads are here, there, almost everywhere on streaming services now. Everybody now has an ad-supported tier. Netflix, Disney Plus, Peacock, Paramount Plus, and Max all have tiers where you can watch ads and in exchange for paying less for a subscription. 30 to 60 seconds at a time. Amazon's got their ads on by default. And now there's no escaping them. Whereas there was a time period where if you wanted to escape ads, all you had to do was get a streaming service. At their upfront presentations, Amazon and Netflix both talked about their ads and how ads are important to their business right now. And Netflix's ad supported subscription, I think, is at $8 or $10, is really, really just doing gangbusters for them. And the problem is, that's the problem, is gangbusters. They're making money. They're making a lot of money, and now we're going to see options for ads become a little bit more pervasive than usual. We're seeing bundling, as Coblin points out. And they're not bundling the good versions. You're not going to see a bundle with Netflix's premium option that has 4K streaming for $23 bundled with Paramount Plus, with its ad-free offering that is, I believe, $12. Whereas normally both will cost you together $35, and the bundle with that would be $30. I don't know. I'm just throwing out numbers. But now, all the bundles that I've seen, like for instance, the Verizon just added a new bundle. Verizon just added a new bundle. Verizon. I don't know. Is that? I think they added a Disney Plus, Hulu, and ESPN bundle for $20, for $19 a month, but you're getting the ad versions. I believe they also have a Netflix one that they just added, because I was like, oh, that might be cheaper. No. Netflix and Max. They added Netflix and Max as a $10 per month on their My Plan act, but both come with ads. Yeah, you save $7 a month, but you're still going to be watching ads. And you don't get 4K. I don't like it at all. Consumers can avoid most of the ads, again, for the price. Apple TV is the only one that offers an ad-free experience right now. Just a couple of months ago, within 2024, and we are in May of 2024, within this year, Apple TV Plus started adding movies to and shows that it had acquired, that it has licenses to its platform. For like right now, this is so stupid. 2 days ago, I watched The Hitman's Bodyguard and The Hitman's Wife's Bodyguard. I did watch both of those movies back to back because I wanted to watch them. I'd seen the first one. I'd never seen Hitman's Wife's Bodyguard, and I was like, let me check this out. So I gotta watch the first one again. What's really funny is I think I was cycling on Tuesday, and typically I watch the news after as I cycle, and I said, I'm gonna watch this movie. So I have a Chromecast with Google TV, and the thing on the LG, whatever, and I pressed Hitman's Bodyguard on the voice activation thing, and it went, and I knew I'd seen the movie, but apparently I'd rated it a thumbs down, and I went, yikes, let me watch it, and rewatched it, and you know what, it's fine. I'll never want to see it again. There are funny moments in both movies. I will not be somebody who's... I don't want to be too negative on these things. And to continue off the ads, this comes from Caitlin Houston over at The Hollywood Reporter, why fast services are no longer the bargain bin of streaming. It's amazing. Whoa. Okay, well, thanks for the email. It's very funny to get emails like, hey, you didn't get the job. Hey, thanks for filling out this thing. You didn't get the job. Okay, anyway, I'm sorry. I should not have done that. But I saw Warner. Somebody took the time out of their day to email me. You didn't get the job. But thank you. Okay. Free ad-supported streaming services, also known as FAST, include Tubi, Pluto TV, and the Roku channel, and Amazon's Freevee as well. I don't know why that's not part of the case, but I think maybe because that's built into Amazon now, and it just doesn't matter. People are increasingly using these platforms. That's the reason why these ad-supported platforms, why Netflix, why Disney Plus, why Hulu, they all have these ad-supported platforms, because it is a way for them to make extra money. Whether you watch on the ad-supported platform or you watch on the free platform, let's take it like this. Paramount Plus is and Pluto TV are both owned by the parent company of Paramount. And if you watch, Evil on Paramount Plus, and let's say this, if you watch Star Trek: The Next Generation on Paramount Plus on the ad-supported version, and if you watch Star Trek: The Next Generation on the Star Trek channel on Pluto TV, and they both come with ads. You are supporting the larger company that is Paramount by watching the ads. Or you could just pay for Paramount Plus and have no ads, and you're still supporting them. But they really want you to watch those ads because you can't skip them. They really want you to watch those ads so that you go out and buy Charmin toilet paper. There's some behind me right now. I just came back I went to the store after I saw the movie. So that you can go out and buy an Xbox controller. And they are doing well with this. I mentioned it before. This is from the Nielsen Gauge, which is through the Nielsen Ratings Company. Tubi made up 1.7% of all television viewing in the U.S. for the month of April, just below Disney Plus, followed by the Roku channel at 1.4%. Coming in above Peacock and Max, Pluto TV came in at 0.8%. And Tubi is doing well. They've learned to hone in on a niche yet large viewer list. Black entertainment, Spanish language, kids. They really have honed in on that. About 60% of Tubi viewers, Caitlin writes, are cord cutters or never had cable, and 40% of Tubi viewers are not on major paid streamers, which is amazing to me to how not like to be of the 40% who has never had Netflix, the biggest streaming platform in the world. No, she's never had it. And then also it says major paid streamers, which means that, they could like not have Netflix, but be like, oh, I love Acorn TV. I love PBS's paid streaming service. I love BritBox. Ooh, I love BritBox. It's got Mrs. Marples, which I think is a show. Hold on, let me see. Mrs. Marples. Mrs. Marples Tea Room is a TV show. Oh, Mrs. Marples, excuse me. Mrs. Marples show. It's Agatha Christie. Sorry, I'm dying. In general, the rise of FAST is not necessarily at the expense of others. New research from Charter Comcast streaming venture Xumo and Bridge finds that 72% of FAST viewers also watch cable or broadcast TV, and 86% subscribe to at least one paid streaming service. But a third of the users said they're also regularly watching FAST channels during peak primetime hours, suggesting it's starting to rival cable and other forms of entertainment. I live in Atlanta. I live in a hipster part of Atlanta, and sometimes I'll walk into a coffee shop, or just coffee shop mostly, but a restaurant or whatever, and there will be like one or two TVs, and one of the TVs is always playing a streaming service. One time I walked into a coffee shop close to me, and they were playing The Simpsons, and I was so excited. But I was only there to pick up coffee. I was like, oh, man, if I could stay. Yes, I watch The Simpsons every single day, and I can watch it literally right now if I wanted. But it's just great to see it out in the world. There's live sports coming to Roku. Roku's got baseball games every Sunday, which is huge for them. It gives people a way to watch baseball and also not pay for MLB TV, or if it's missing from broadcast cable and broadcast TV, it's on regular cable, then this is going to do so well for Roku. And every single one of these is finding their own niche and way. Now, there are way too many channels on these services. I believe that the number was like 5,000 or so between all of the channels. Yes. In May, there were more than 5,000 channels across 18 tracked platforms in the U.S., which is up 1,129 since the prior year, which means that, between Pluto TV and Tubi and Google TV's free thing and LG TV's free thing and Samsung's free TV thing, yes, everything has a free service. Then there's all those channels. There's a Hell's Kitchen channel. There's a Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles channel. There's, I assume, Laugh Riot, which is just old sitcoms. Fastest growing. And while it may never be the size of, let's not compare it to Netflix. While it never may be the size of Max, you're welcome, David Zaslav. While it never may be that size, it's always going to be something that these companies and studios are looking at because it is such a great moneymaker. That there's growth year over year, month over month, because people are trying to cut back and find other ways to enjoy television. If they can get, Warner's shows on Tubi, which is a fact, you can now get, I don't know, Raised by Wolves, which is a show I missed when it was on HBO Max, and now I can't watch it unless I buy it. I don't think you can buy it yet. But Raised by Wolves, if you want to watch, sometimes they have other shows like, not The Sopranos. Yeah, but The Sopranos is on Netflix, I believe. Sometimes they have other shows like Boardwalk Empire, and that might be on Tubi. But you have to watch with ads. But if you don't pay for Max, that's a good way to watch it. I wonder if it's edited. I don't know. I just rewatched Downsizing on Pluto TV because the Doughboys podcast was doing a Patreon episode about downsizing, and I wanted to rewatch it because I enjoyed that movie in theaters. And it's the movie is 2 hours and 20 minutes long, and when you go to Pluto to watch it on demand, it calculates also the ad breaks. So the entire thing, I watched it from 7 p.m. to 10 p.m. It was 3 hours long. And when I got to the first ad break, the movie restarted. And I was in the kitchen. I went, what is going on? Because I had to skip through that ad break again. And then it played the same ads. And I saw the same ads so many times. Anyway, there's I spoke of YouTubers earlier. Scott the Woz is a YouTuber who does video game essays, which are fine. He's a fanboy of PlayStation and Nintendo. And every time an Xbox story pops up, he does not give it the attention it deserves. But he did do an episode about free ways to get free games. I should actually just go to his YouTube channel. Let's see. He did an episode about free games and ways to play free games, because now there are so many ways to play games. I'm not talking about stealing or emulating or anything, but like actual ways to play free games, which are fantastic. Budget gaming is what he called it. And you could buy old consoles while the new consoles are out, or you could subscribe to things like Game Pass, and I believe you can subscribe in PlayStation Plus. Yes, you can, and Nintendo Online, and you get free games through those subscriptions, whether to keep or to play for as long as you subscribe. You can subscribe to Amazon Prime, and you get Prime Gaming, and they give you free games. You can sign up for an Epic account, and you get free games through Epic. Sometimes Steam gives away games. There's just so many ways to play free games. And there's so many ways to play, to watch free movies and TV shows. It's just different now. And you have to be able to dance around and look and see how that works. All right. Anyway, I'm done. Listen, if you like what you heard here, head to the website, cpluscomedy.com, where I've got stuff. You can see me talk to your favorite comedians, musicians, producers, directors, writers, whatever. I talk to everybody. You can also watch a video version of this show on youtube.com/C+comedy, where you can watch the other video versions of the other podcasts, which are LinkedIn Logs, which is the Jobs podcast, and Late Night Lately, which is the late night show. You can follow us on TikTok, Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook at C+ Comedy. You can follow me on those platforms at Chad Black White. What else? Share with your friends. Do everything you possibly can. There's so much. Enjoy all the TV. Enjoy all the games. And we'll see you next time. Bye.